are everywhere. From the way we pitch an idea to the way we explain what happened at the grocery store, our lives are stitched together by narratives. Yet, most of us, whether it's in business or daily life, struggle to tell stories people actually remember. We fall into facts, slides, bullet points, and wonder why our message doesn't land. Welcome back, listeners, to this interesting conversation on the BizBlend podcast. I'm your host, Sana, and today we are joined by someone who has mastered the art of ending boring communication, Ivan Wanis Ruiz. And he has taken lessons from boardrooms to football stadiums, from the Olympics to corporate retreats, teaching leaders and everyday people how to turn conversations into unforgettable experiences. Now, Ivan's story itself is layered with trial, error, and transformation, failing in finance, stumbling in sales, only to find his superpower in making stories stick. So, listeners, the real question is, how do we, as professionals or leaders or just humans, trying to connect, transform everyday communication into something people remember long after they walk away? So, let's find out. And Ivan, welcome to the show. And I'm really, really pumped up for this conversation.
Well, Sana, thank you so much for that amazing intro. I always say that you got to put the bar a little lower. Everybody's listening is going to be expected to be absolutely mind blown. I'm going to try my best. Next time, just be like, so Ivan's like, okay, he's fine. I think it'll be okay. You set me up a really high bar there. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And the pleasure is always mine. And everyone is a hero or a heroine of their own story, of their own movie or the stage. So let's begin with your own journey, Ivan. I mean, your bio starts with failure, not success. And I think this is something so human because everyone is like, boistering about their highs, um, their gains, but it definitely needs a lot of courage and vulnerability at the same time to share our lows. So, whether it's finance, sales, or nonprofits or academia, you say you stumbled through them all. So, how did those failures shape your understanding of storytelling in a way that success alone never could?
Well, in terms of, the funny thing about failure is that when it keeps happening, sooner or later, you have to do something about it. Like I want you, so here's the thing. Imagine you find your career path. You go to university, you do your career path. And then
Yeah.
almost instantly you're like, this is not for me. Most of us tough it out. We have to tough it out. And I was trying, but I you're only good at things you enjoy. So when I was in finance, I tried to tough it out, but I didn't do very well and I burnt out. When I was in sales, I tried to tough it out, but my sales weren't very good.
Okay.
When I was doing accounting, I hated it. So I tried to tough it out, but I was that person that was just people are like, oh, we should probably not give it to Yvonne because he won't get it done quickly or something. You know what I mean? And it wasn't because I was bad at it. It's because I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't happy with it. And you're
Yeah.
only good at things you enjoy.
True. That is true. That is true.
Now,
I
one of the things I'll always tell people is it's important. Like the other big thing though is that people say it's important to fail, but it's also very difficult to embrace it because no one starts a job going, I can't wait to be like super shitty at this job. No one says that, right? And then when you are bad at your job or you're not doing well or you hate it, the thing is this, and Sana, this is one of the truest things you'll ever hear. And if you're listening, stop washing the dishes, stop looking at your email and listen right now. The fear of the unknown is greater than the fear of being unhappy. The fear of the unknown is greater than the fear of being unhappy. So most people will settle for unhappy because many people have jobs they don't like, they're not good at, whatever. But what if I can't find something better? What if this is it? What if my next job doesn't make as much money? What if? That fear of the unknown keeps people in unhappy. So one of the biggest things that I think that I learned over time was I was failing, but the funny enough, the more I did it, the less afraid I was to quit because, I've only invested 6 months in this. I can just quit. But that ability to embrace the unknown is, I think, what helped me find my actual path.
Wow. The fear of unknown is greater than fear of being unhappy.
And Santa, dude, can I tell you this right now between us? You
Yeah, yeah.
see it all the time. How many friends do you have that are in relationships where you're like, break up, break up? And they're like, we're going to try and work it out. And you're like, in your head, you're like, no, no, don't work it out. But why do they stay together? I mean, there's people listening right now. They're like, that's probably you because, like, oh, what if I don't find somebody better?
Exactly.
That's what
Yeah.
keeps you in unhappy.
Mm, yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. And Ivan, did you get any time? Sometimes people will kind of make judgments around it that, oh my goodness, you're not happy with this, you're unhappy at doing this. I mean, there are people out there who have to pay their bills, they have to survive. So you have to stick with it. You don't have that option or that privilege to let this go. You cannot quit. I mean, have you encountered maybe a kind of inner critique within you like this, or maybe some
Mhm.
people come from outside?
Well, certainly what I did was, because what you're saying is so valid, Santa, that's like, oh, it's easy for Yvonne, some guy in the Western world to be like, just quit, do what you want. And a lot of people say that, right? A lot of influencers, it's like, look at me, I got a six pack and I live in Mexico. You should do what I do. And you're like, yeah, I can't do that, dude. Right. So,
Yeah.
and I'm very aware of that. Now, one of the things that I did, funny enough, is I realized very quickly when I was like, for example, in my sales job, that I hated it
Mm,
and I wasn't going to last. But I decided to be like, you know what? I'm going to tough this out for a year.
okay.
I'm going to tough this out for maximum 1 year. And all I'm going to do is save money so that
Mm,
when I
mm,
quit, I won't have to find something right away.
mm,
So that's the first part. The second part is every time, and Santa, I mean, when decided to try and make a go out of starting my own business, I was like, I'm like, I was like 30 living with my parents. And that's in the Western world, that's so frowned upon. It's like, it means you're a loser, basically. It means you're a huge loser,
yeah.
right? But after I quit my job, I quit that sales job and I had enough money and I was suffering because I was like, on paper, I was kind of a loser. But at the same time, I found part-time gigs of work. So you know what I did? This is funny. So I did two things happened. The first thing was I started working as a background extra in movies
Oh.
because it's something that they will call you the day before. Hey, are you available tomorrow? So it was all on call. They would usually feed you too. And I would just show up and I would just kind of do whatever. I was working as I was an extra. And I think being an extra is if it's feasible where you live, is one of the
Mm,
best like part-time gigs you can do while you're trying to figure out what you want to do in life. Because as an extra, 70-80% of your time, you're just waiting around. So I would show up and I would work and I would research and I would look at things and I'd learn. The other aspect, you're meeting all kinds of different people, so you're getting into conversations, which spurs ideas. And lastly, it's like easy money and kind of fun and a little
mm.
boring. But it's kind of like you're just hanging out on a movie set, you know?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was a background in so many movies.
Uh-huh. Yeah, reminds me of a video I was watching of um, uh, Terry. I don't remember the entire name. So he was in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Terry. So
Okay.
he was a background artist initially when he started, and he was really, really good at, drawing. He's a great artist. And I think he hosted Voice or maybe American Idol. I'm not sure. Yeah, so he was also a background artist, and that was a time when he had to, kind of survive because he had his family, his wife and kids. So
Mm.
he like shifted to LA. He worked in Hollywood and he kind of started with becoming a background artist. And then, he also did his networking. He got really, really identified for the hard work he was doing. And yeah, I mean, yes, there are really, really some stellar growth stories that we, encounter across. Sometimes, people really make strange judgments, but I think, it is what it is. It is what we know we have experienced.
Mhm. Yeah, and a good part-time job is the other answer to your question. I got a big part-time job I didn't care much about,
Okay.
which was my extra thing, and that gave me a little bit of leeway into being more flexible and not being worried about money.
Okay.
Although I was living like a total poor person for a long time. Oh my god, it was like the hardest. It was like I still think about that time and get like my heart because it was just such a scary, unknown time.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I mean, you have worked everywhere. I mean, boardrooms, FIFA World Cup stage. I mean, that's awesome. I mean, what's one universal storytelling principle that works? Whether you are addressing 10 executives or maybe 10,000 fans in the stadium.
Well, I can tell you that it's a different kind of communication in both of them. But if we're talking about a storytelling practice that is the number one thing that most people do not do.
Okay.
There's one thing when you started your intro, Sana, you talked about like, why is it so hard to tell an interesting story? And it's a very simple reason. Most
Mhm.
stories focus, when we're saying stories, we focus on what we did and how we solved the problem. Our
Mhm.
success. We tell 6 stories about our success.
Yeah.
But the thing that makes a story interesting is the problem. And the best stories have not one, not two, but multiple problems. And the solution is literally only at the end of your story. So think about it like this. The movie The Lord of the Rings, or almost every movie you've watched that's interesting,
Mhm.
the vast majority of the movie is solving a problem and then another problem and then another problem and then another problem. And then the solution is usually just very quick at the end. When you are telling stories, whether it's in a boardroom or whether it's in front of a bunch of people to entertain them, you have to focus on the problem. You have to make most of the time the problem because that is what's interesting. Here's another way to think about it.
Mhm.
What makes a good action movie? Donna, I'm asking you, have you ever thought about it? What's the difference between a good versus a bad action movie? And the
Okay.
answer is almost always the villain. If the villain is good,
That
yeah,
antagonist, the villain. Yeah.
yeah. In other words, if the problem is good, the movie is interesting. If your
Okay.
story is good, then you need to have good, thorough problem. And I can give you a quick example if you'd like.
Mhm.
So, give me a topic that you might find in the business world, or give me a technical topic, a business topic, a finance topic, marketing, something. Just give me any topic.
Let's take automation or technology transformation, digital transformation. Let's take that.
Let's talk about digital transformations, right? So, suppose I'm doing a presentation and I want to tell the story about why I think this new AI process is a
Mhm.
really good thing for us to try, right?
Mhm.
Instead of trying to, if I spend all my time trying to sell you the benefits, I'm probably going to get skepticism and questions, right?
Yeah.
But if I spend a lot of time focusing on the problem and I say things like, so right now we have 5 people doing this job, and those 5 people all have to spend almost all of their time going through the code to make sure that are no errors in code, right? And the thing is, they are overlapping their work. And how do we make it so that they're not overlapping their work? And also, how do we make it that it's not redundant, that they're not repeating each other's work, let alone going through the work? Well, what can you do? How do you replace 5 people? All right,
Mhm.
well, we can use an AI. But here's the thing. If we use an AI, how do we trust it? Can we trust an AI not to make any mistakes or not to hallucinate? Also,
Mm.
if we use an AI to do 5 people's jobs, what's going to happen to those 5 people?
Exactly.
And you see what I've done? All I'm doing is giving you problems.
Yep.
I have yet to talk about my solution.
Exactly. Something that will keep all of them up in the night.
Yeah, and also makes them think about it, right? And then let's
Yep.
suppose I solve a problem, I solve something, I have to add another problem. So here's the thing: we're not just gonna use AI. AI is gonna be a consultant. It's gonna say, hey, it's gonna give us suggestions, but those suggestions are gonna be approved and reviewed by one of our 5 people. Now,
Mm,
if we're doing that, do we still need all 5? Do we really need 5 people now to only review information? What are they gonna do with the rest of their time? So now look, I've solved the problem. You went, okay, that's not a good solution. But then I added another problem. This is how you keep people interested over time. And listener, dear listener, the next time you watch any movie, watch how they do this. There is a big problem, but then a bunch of little problems on the way.
yep.
And that's how they keep you watching.
That is true. That is true. I mean, I just want to ask you one. Why
Yes.
didn't I mean, you couldn't you survive in sales because of your inability to sell anything, or it was just that you didn't find any happiness, that fulfillment doing it? I'm just curious to know. It's like a personal inquisitiveness that I have.
No, that you're exactly right. It goes back to that concept of you're only really good at things you enjoy. And I hated being I was a pharmaceutical sales rep, and I hated it.
Mm,
I didn't believe in the products I was selling. I hated the business model. I woke
yeah.
up. I remember once I woke up and I cried. Oh my gosh, I was so unhappy. I also hated where I was. Like I was living in a place I didn't want to live in. I had to
Mhm.
drive hours every day, which I hated doing. So all these elements came into it. You know, uh, I have another friend, and
Mhm.
she sells rugs. Okay, she sells rugs,
Okay.
but she finds it so interesting and so rewarding that she's an awesome salesperson. Now,
Yeah.
could she sell everything? No, but man, can she sell you a rug
But
because she believes in what she's doing.
that's so right. That's so right. Oh, wow. And now, Ivan, when we talk about today's day and age, when we have all the likes of Instagram, Reels, and TikTok and stuff, is storytelling at risk of becoming too long-winded? Now, I mean, like, are we moving toward micro moments over narratives?
Mhm. That's such an interesting question, Santa, because it's the whole concept of is because of TikTok and Instagram, because of Reels essentially on Instagram, does everything have to be a minute or less? You know what I mean? Are we just forgetting the whole idea of developing something over time? Does it have to be short? And certainly my attention span and yours has probably gotten shorter.
Yeah.
But there's another element there. It's not even that our attention spans are getting shorter, which they are, but it's the fact that we now don't focus on the media we consume fully.
Mm,
So what do I mean by that? Santa, right now you and I are talking. And I almost
mhm.
guarantee that if you're on your laptop, you
Yeah,
have multiple tabs open.
that's right.
I can almost guarantee that everyone who's listening to this, if you're listening to this, you're probably doing something else as well.
Yeah.
You're probably watching something else, looking at something else. So the concept of narrative, it's not so much that we're going to shorter and shorter, is that there's many things, we're now getting used to doing many things at once. And so the obstacle is focusing on one thing. It's not just attention span, it's how do we make someone focus on one thing? Personally, I think that the concept of a good narrative is always going to be there. Because if you're like me, yes, I get bored in like 10 seconds. Okay, next thing, next thing, next thing, right? So there's an increasing demand to be more interesting right away. But at the same time, I mean, there's some TV shows that I will stop everything and just watch.
Yeah.
There's a few documentaries that I'm like, I can't stop doing. I must finish this.
Yep.
So I don't think it's disappearing. But what I do think is that in the business world, when it's not entertainment, we now have to be a bit more conscious of doing things faster or getting attention faster.
Totally, totally. And I also believe that this it's not going anywhere because in the movies, the pop culture, whether it's Hollywood or Bollywood, we are seeing the people, the viewers, the audience rejecting movies that are, simply just for money making or cash grabbing. I mean,
Hmm.
you're expecting
Like
movies
shitty stories.
exactly with shitty stories, of course, whether those are action or sci-fi or even a foreign
Hmm.
movie. We are people are appreciating movies with good stories, um, through word of mouth. Exactly. I mean, this in this
100% agree.
of social media, there's still physical word of mouth, and of course, there's your digital word of mouth. But I think it's the physical word of mouth that yes, this is a good movie. It has got a great story. So just go and watch it. So I don't think it's going anywhere.
I also believe that there's now, because before, when media was much more centralized, you could get away with doing a lot of bad content. And the really thing that's frustrating is people still make lots of bad content. So more and more of Netflix shows are just so dumb. And so what's happening is people, it's not that they don't want a good narrative or a good story or they want something fast. It's that there's a lot of things that are so dumb and there's so many more alternatives that I'd rather go and find my own unique niche. You know what I mean?
So, yeah, totally, totally.
Like, I'll give you a really good example. I have been really, really, really trying to find like really good, long, like dramatic TV shows because I
Okay.
can't find anything on Netflix because it's all just about like teen witches and teen magicians and
Uh-huh.
teen superheroes. And I don't care about the angst of a 15-year-old. I just don't. I don't care if they're a witch or a ninja or a magician or a werewolf or a vampire. And that's so I'm trying to find things that are out there that are more involved. It's just not in the main sources of media, which is totally off topic from what we're supposed to be talking about.
Yes, yeah. They don't want to show it to you. Awesome, awesome, Ivan. So, of course, before we wrap up this conversation, what would be the easiest way to reach out to you?
If people want to find me, it's at publicspeakinglab.com. And let me give you three things that are going to make you want to find out more about me. If that's fair, because I want to bring it back to the idea of communication. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So, number one, if you want to find me, just search for Public Speaking Lab. It's a lab because every time I do anything, I'm doing it live and I'm experimenting in the moment. But
Mm.
here's a couple of big concepts that I'm really trying to focus on. And it's something I talk about in my social media. Number one, in a world where I can find out anything, almost any information in seconds, in a world where I say, oh, I'll just get the slide deck and read it on my own later, in a world where more and more technical tasks are becoming automated with AI,
Mm.
what value do you bring?
Mm.
What is the value of a person if it's not your knowledge or your technical skills? It's going to be your communication.
Yeah.
Number two, we have to change the way we learn and we have to change learning environments. If we're all together in a room and we're all sitting silently listening to one person, we don't need to be together in that room. Hence, lecturing, conferences, they're all doing it wrong. Because here's the thing, if you are doing all the talking, how do you know anyone is listening?
Yeah.
Therefore, whenever you're designing any presentation or you have to talk in front of a group of people for 5 minutes at a meeting or for an
Mhm.
hour at a conference, you have to ask yourself, how can I get my audience to talk to each other? If
Mm.
you can't answer that question or you don't have any times when your audience gets to talk to each other, you're wasting your time because no one will be listening to you and they'll just say, I'll get the slide deck later. And here's the last thing that I'll leave you with. And I'm just going to say it one more time because repetition is important. The fear of the unknown is greater than the fear of being unhappy. So if you are in a position in life where you are unhappy, don't quit. Give yourself a 1-year plan to quit. Start embracing the unknown now, and in a year from now, it won't be as scary. And do what I do. Start planning. Make a plan, find a part-time job, and slowly transition into the unknown. Don't jump into it. There.
Super. Mic drop. And I'll make sure to have all the details in the show notes, all the links for our listeners. And listeners, here's the truth: facts may get you respect, but stories get you remembered. The next time you're about to send that email, pitch that idea, or give a demo, or step into that meeting, ask yourself, will they forget this tomorrow, or will it echo in their minds for weeks? Because in the end, it's not the data that moves people, it's the story you dared to tell. Until then, this is BizBlend and I'm your host, Sana, signing off. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.